Well, thank you very much for coming on this challenging day. Thank you to Joe for hosting us here, Joe Camillo and his wife Trish. This is an important announcement. My name is Tim Lang with Youth Employment Services, YES, and we serve tens of thousands of young people and try to gain them employment through various training and life skills. And we are so grateful to the province of Ontario, the provincial government, for their support. We've been around 50 years, and over that time have served hundreds of thousands and even directly millions of young people with a close to 90% success rate. And again, that's only possible because of the Ontario government and the funding that they give. And obviously it's the right thing to do, but it also, from our research, for every $1 of funding returns $3 to the economy in terms of wages, tax revenues, a reduction on social services, aside from the fact that it really and truly changes lives. So we're so grateful for this announcement today, which I think is another step in making Ontario even stronger. So we will hear from everyone, and there'll be an opportunity to ask questions afterwards. But first, I would like to introduce Ted McMeekin, who this is near and dear to his heart. He's spent a whole life of trying to help people out of poverty. Not only as his time in many interest groups, but his time leading the YMCA. He's been awarded for it several times, including the Silver Jubilee Medal, the Gold Jubilee Medal, so that means he's been around a long time. But that's right. And as a member of provincial parliament after his time as Mayor of Flamborough, he's served in many cabinet posts and truly is passionate about helping those in need. So pleased to have him here, and I'd like to introduce Ted McMeekin.
Thank you very much. As I was saying to Her Majesty just the other day, you know, Your Majesty, our job is to create strong, healthy, caring, vibrant, complete communities. And she said, yes. You know why she waves like this? It's from screwing all the light bulbs into the palace. Anyhow, I'm pleased to be here with my good friend Eleanor, who's running herself ragged these days. And I keep saying, pace yourself. So what she does is she runs faster. You know, it's an interesting a combination of giftedness and passion for the possible. And we can do anything we want to do if we don't lose our passion for the possible. That's what I tell my 3 daughters and all their friends. You know, never give up on your passion for the possible. You know, kids have got it really rough, you know, these days. We like to think of our young people as vibrant, and they are strong, and they are, many of them, most of them. Equipped to deal with everything in the world. But you know, recent study shows that 44% of kids in, sorry Eleanor, I'm wandering a bit here, in their first 4 years at university end up on a prescription drug for depression, and 14% of those same kids actively consider suicide, right? So we need to be understanding of that and standing with our young people, particularly when they're so demographically over unemployed and most working in precarious jobs. In an era where small business is often struggling and needs to be supported. We can do that in many ways. We can lower the small business tax 22%, which we've done. You may reference that. We can be looking at providing supports for those in our community, be they seniors or little kids. We just came from an announcement today. We had a whole bunch of 2.5-year-olds there, and it was really kind of fun talking about, you know, their future and how we need to be providing support for those that love them and care about them. So, you know, providing some kind of direct support to small businesses is a way to go as well. And Eleanor is going to talk a little bit about that. But I just want to talk a little bit about Eleanor because you know, I'm an old timer. I've been around for a long time. I've learned how to pace myself a little bit. And I don't go to 18 events every weekend anymore. I go to 6, right? And we let the young people like Eleanor handle all the, you know, she goes to 38 because I only go to 6, right? You know, it is, but she gets it. She sits around the cabinet table and she brings to the cabinet table her passion for the possible, and particularly for our young people, because she's young herself, you know, and it's important that young people stand with other young people to make sure that they get a fair break, and that businesses who want to stand for both making money and with their young people get the help they need. So without any further ado, let me introduce a really good friend, somebody I have more respect for than I can possibly put into words, who is learning how to pace herself, and the always honorable Eleanor McMahon.
Thank you, Darby. Thank you. Well, I'm glad we're in a sports store today so we can talk about pacing ourselves, right? But, you know, it's interesting, Ted talked about the challenges of our youth today, and I do want to build on that because he's absolutely right. I do have some formal remarks, but I think in the essence of we find ourselves among friends today, and since the topic that we're here to really talk about is so important and so relevant, and there's such shared passion in the room, I'll just start by talking about Ted for a moment. He talked about pacing oneself, and I could say the pot is calling the kettle black on that, Bernadette, but I won't say that, right, Ted? But my mentor is over here to my right, and Tim talked about Ted's legacy of public service, which honestly I could be here for hours and days talking about in the most appropriate of ways. The numbers of people that Ted has helped out of poverty and out of circumstance and find the intersection of hope and reality is there's aren't enough days in the week to enumerate those, but it's important to acknowledge it, and I thank you for doing so. I would also say that just by way of anecdote, that when I got appointed to cabinet the first time, I've graciously been reappointed by the Premier. The first person, or one of the first people I called, besides my mother and my brother, was Ted, to say, how do I make a difference in that arena? How can I be productive? What should I say? And Ted gave me advice on how to be impactful and how to make a difference in that and rather imposing arena, because it is an imposing arena and it is an imposing group of people and it's an important arena. And Ted's helped me to stay grounded. I try my best. and remember why we're here, because we live in a difficult world somehow, it seems, these days, where life is moving very quickly, and people don't always feel as though they have what they need to get ahead. And the conversation we're having today about young people, I think, is an important one, but it's also about the small businesses that are really, we say, the engine of the economy, and it sounds trite somehow, but I used to work at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, which was mostly the large business lobby group for the country. But, you know, the small businesses like the one that we're in today, and Ted knows this, we all do, that folks like Nico Apparel, and I've only just met Joe and Trish, but I feel like I know you already. Grazie mille, allora. And but are givers in every sense. They seek always to give back to community. They hire young people, which is what we're here to talk about. This is a company that's been manufacturing custom-made apparel for 20 years. If you look around the room and you see the cycling jerseys and the amazing Hamilton and lacrosse, and I'm from Windsor originally, and lacrosse really has a strong root in Windsor. Lots of friends that I grew up with played lacrosse, and it's such a great sport. And when I was Minister of Sport, had the honor of overseeing the first women's lacrosse game at the North American Indigenous Games at the Six Nations of the Grand River. So thank you for doing what you do, Joe and Trish, and thank you for giving our young people that first start. But I know, because of just knowing you and looking around here, and most small businesses give back to their community too. Every chance that they get. So I know, without even knowing, that you're one of those employers. So thank you for employing young people, for being their champion, for leveraging their talents and ideas, and for giving back to community and helping everybody succeed. You are at the nexus of opportunity for young people, and that first opportunity. And I was jokingly saying a few minutes ago that I remember my first job. If all of us who are a certain age in particular. I'm not looking in particular at anyone. But if you think about that first job and how it helped you to have formative skills for the rest of your life, the young people that you got started, I know will, as their careers progress, I'm sure you're still in touch with some of them, look back on their time here and with gratitude for not just the salary that they got, but the skills that they learned and the opportunity that you gave them and the hope that that rendered in their own lives. So, you know, when you talk about the 400,000 small businesses and when you talk about places like this one being the backbone of the community in Hamilton and across the province, it's not that, it's the lives that you shape and the communities you change because of the work that you do. So thank you, because you know, while our employment situation is getting stronger, we just had job numbers out today, and we're 10,000 jobs ahead this month, and that's a good thing. And here in Hamilton, the jobless rate's about 5.3%, right, Ted? Just below, yeah, just below the provincial rate of 5.5. But you know, that said, you know, we know everybody's not necessarily feeling the value of that, and there are some folks that are still struggling. And when we talk about who's in that group, certainly young people are a big part of that. And so that's why we're focusing on creating the conditions for small business to succeed. It's the rising tide effect, because you know, we're working at really across the gamut. We're working on a variety of fronts to give people the tools that they need to lower their cost of living, and at the same time we're giving those important tools to small business, because we know that they too are facing challenges, and we're listening and taking action. That's why as a province we're providing more than $500 million over 3 years to strengthen small business. We announced part of this in the fall economic statement, and then more recently in our budget. We've reduced the small business tax rate by 22%, which is a good thing, and we're cutting red tape to help businesses grow. We set the goal to designate 33% of government procurement, and I'm the minister responsible for a lot of that procurement, so very proud of that. And we're focusing on small business, so we want to make sure that a third of our procurement as government goes to small and medium-sized enterprises by 2020. And that's a lot. We're the biggest subnational in the economy. We have an economy and a GDP that's larger than many U.S. states. We're big. We're here in Ontario. So that's an important decision that we're taking. We're moving to a one window service, which is really important, so that small business can access government services. I hear time and time again, and I know Ted does too, that people come into our offices and they're trying to unpack government and figure it out. We've done this in the larger and corporate sector with our one window opportunity. I heard just at an event last night at our Chamber of Commerce about how that's working to attract investment to Burlington, and how our Economic Development Corporation is utilizing that one window. They said to me last night clearly, you guys have got it nailed. You're doing it right. The feds have a little bit of catch up to do, and that's fine, but you guys really have it. It's the experience that we've had the last number of years in serving the business community that has led to that decision. We appointed Alan Odette to be our concierge for business and their navigation with government. So the work continues. That's why we're here today, of course. And our colleague Jeff Leal announced earlier this week that our government is investing in something called the Employing Young Talent Incentive. And that's what you're doing right here, Joe. You're employing young talent. And it's a $124 million investment over 3 years. And this new incentive supports businesses that hire and retain young people right in your wheelhouse, between 15 and 29, by offering up to $2,000 in hiring and retention incentives for employers. And because a third of our workers are in small business entities, and that's pretty important, we've heard from those small business owners that they face barriers when it comes to hiring and retaining young people, as well as skilled labor shortages. So in addition to focusing on incentives to businesses, we're also helping young people by giving business owners of any size an initial $1,000 incentive, and then at the 3 months of hiring, an additional $1,000 retention incentive. Sorry, that's after 6 months for hiring young people who face barriers to employment. And you're probably aware of that job, the Youth Job Connection. So we're working at both ends of the spectrum. We're offering incentives to small business. We're offering incentives to young people to make the choice easier, and that's really important for us to do. You know, because many young people got their start working for small businesses. like yours, Joe. For me, it was a restaurant. After my brief stint calling people that didn't last for very long, I remember it well. I started working in the restaurant business. So that first step, that first door opening that you give to people, Joe, is as I said, pays back in spades as they go through their lives. And it's that first step and that first beginning that really gets young people on their way. So through these supports, we're helping small businesses, we're helping young people. It's a win-win situation, to sound trite for a moment, but it's true. And our goal is to help young people and small businesses right here in Hamilton and across the province succeed. So thank you, Nico Apparel. Thank you, Joe and Trish. And we're just grateful to have you hosting us this morning. And thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you ever so much, Minister McMahon. This is, as she had said, this is such an important addition to Ontario. The provincial government has done so much in Ontario to help organizations like ours, yes. And knowing, as she was president of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, but also she has a background leading the United Way, she understands the dynamic between the importance of social services, but also that small business and business drive our economy. So this link, as she said, combining the two will have just a huge impact, and we've already been able to see some of that in our organization and help work with organizations and businesses and help them get even more jobs. So this is an incredible day, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you for being here as well. It's now my honor to introduce our host today, Joe Camillo, the president of Nico Apparel. As Minister McMahon said, your first job is so important. Really, it's one of the factors that gives people a sense of self-worth and dignity, and it's just so critical in someone's life's journey. And it's fitting that we're at Nico Apparel with Joe Camillo because he's given so many young people their first opportunity, including students, McMaster graduates, people from the provincial government programs that have come out of that. He's given them opportunity, even Syrian refugees who's got on staff right now that were in the worst hardships just a year ago, and he's given them opportunity. So it's my pleasure to introduce him. It's also nice to be here. As a former small, speedy receiver in a university, a football player. So when I see jerseys, I get excited. I signed a contract with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I just couldn't get them to sign it. So it's my honor to have you here tonight. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tim. Minister McMahon, MPP, Ted McMeekin, guests, thank you very much for coming today. In my life, I always hear, I wish I could help. I can't really do it right now. There's always this barrier. And in life and in business, you experience this. And that's what happens in small business, and that's what happens when you start off and you invest in young talent. I wanted just to sort of backwards, give you a backdrop on how this business started and how employing youth and their ability and their desire to help us and help themselves has helped our company grow. This company was started 22 years ago. It was named after our daughter, Nicole. It was the first of 4. And it was due to change in life and change in the economy. And we found ourselves, my wife and I, experiencing a job loss. I was a teacher at Mohawk College. I have undergrad at Guelph and an MBA at Mac, and I got involved in business, but I love to teach, but I also have this active mode. I need to exercise, I need to do things, and I got involved with Hamilton Leander boat club here in Hamilton, and I was lucky enough to make the national team one year, and we started a rowing business which required sewers. And we had home sewers, and I was teaching, and my wife, we were getting together, all that good stuff happening. Well, we were dealing with contract sewers. We decided to open up a small business. I was a partner. Our daughter was on her way, and let's just say in '95, when I was a teacher, $1 billion was cut off from the funding, and we both lost our jobs. We took over this business. Our daughter was born in September. We named it Nico. It's pretty crazy. And I try to combine my love of sport along with my understanding of business, but most importantly, it's the people that you need to understand, because it's the common respect that you give to your staff, be it young or old, that drive whatever you do. So, I put my glasses on because I'm a little bit old, so. No. So Nico Apparel is a custom apparel manufacturer which we manufacture for our sister company Regatta Sport in St. Catharines, as well as other private label manufacturers. And we are primarily an export-based company, meaning that most of our customers, if I manufacture here, they go outside. Currently, we have one of our staff. We're in Long Beach, California this weekend. A week ago, we were in San Diego. Yesterday, we had Olympian and world champion Tom Kay, who represents us in Great Britain. We sell all over. So it is interesting that this little business really relies on outside customers to survive. Why did I choose Hamilton? I choose Hamilton because what's not to like? I live here. I grew up here. I went to school here. The infrastructure is great. My mom lives here. I love my mom. And I think everything here, the real estate, the proximity to the U.S., the labor pool, there are a lot of great reasons to be here in Hamilton. But I think it's about the balance of life. And that's really important for me because it's not just about making money. It comes when you do everything right. And it comes when you have the right people and when you train them and when you have that ability to tap into programs that are so vital to help the employer and the employee grow. We all strengthen. We like to do things that people don't like to do, and we like to do things that somehow say that can't be done. I had a young lady back in early 2000s come to me. She was displaced, and she was actually brought under what was then the Citizen Action Group, which is the precursor to Employment Hamilton. This young lady, very smart, couldn't find work, and she worked with me, again, the whole idea about training youth and giving them that opportunity. Not to say that that program specifically gave us that strength, but through working with Citizen Action Group with Employment Hamilton, our staff member, she's with us now 15 years later, and you're going to meet her. And here's a little product that we developed. Everything was done here. All the packaging, all the design, all our graphic design from our graphic designer, you're going to meet Nicole Walker. And this product is now being sold all over the world, and this will be sold in Canadian Tire this summer. Developed here, primarily from somebody who was displaced, who was young, who was funded. And that just shows you how important it is to give those people the opportunity. She's helped Olympic teams, and I think it's just important when we think about youth, we need to think about what opportunities we give them and what they give back. And I can tell you right now, we're really proud of this. I can tell you that this person, we deal with the largest impact protection company in the world, D3 out of Essex, England, and they deal with the U.S. military. They deal with us. They deal with her. She was let go. She had no job. And that's the thing, is about identifying talent and training them and bringing them up. And a lot of our staff have gone on to better things too. So I think we're all a team, and you're only as strong as your weakest link, and our training partners help strengthen their skills, and those firms all working together. In our business, you need designers and staff to be dynamic, and Ms. Walker is learning through the training programs that we have that you need to understand in real-world settings. To us, to make something is such a great it's such a fulfilling role. I just really enjoy making things. We make it here. These are made here. Okay, this was not made here, but it was designed here. And you need to understand that. But without the talent, you can't do it. You can't compete. And I think it's really important that we have programs for youth and for displaced workers to help them learn and get that real-world experience. I just want to say that without my training partners, without Employment Hamilton, without the provincial government, without the federal government, because the federal government has been great as well, we wouldn't be here. And I've been lucky to understand and have great relationships with these groups. I mean, you're here today because of the working relationship that I've had with Employment in Hamilton since 1997. And to me, you know, there has to be dialogue both ways, because there's a lot of employers that do not know that. It also takes risk. In business, it takes risk. And to train a young lady, to train a young individual takes risk. And some people say, I can't do it. I wish I could. You know, I wish, you know, later. It's always these excuses. And in life, sometimes you can't wait. And that's when they become underemployed. And that's when they become disillusioned. And that's when they give up. And here, our staff, they don't give up. We compete against China, the US, Great Britain, South America. We take that work and we give it here. And there's unique features. You know, we're not competing on commodity products. We're value added, just like our staff. So again, I just wanted to thank you, thank Mr. Lang, thank the province, but most importantly, thank the people that work for us, because without people like Ms. Walker and Ching Mark, who's in the other side, we wouldn't be where we are.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. He expressed it so well and has seen it firsthand, the support from the Ontario government, as I've seen it firsthand. And now we'll get to hear about it firsthand from a young person, like many young people, struggled to find a job, and through some of the programs that the province of Ontario offers, has found her way to Nico Apparel. So I'd like to introduce Nicole Walker.
Hello. As he said, I'm Nicole Walker. I graduated from Mohawk College in graphic design, and afterwards the job search starts. You start looking online and you notice that a lot of things say 3 years plus of experience, or like it's really tough to find something that looks interesting that you don't need experience for. So it's pretty discouraging to stay motivated to keep applying when you just keep getting things back saying, wait, how much experience do you have? Eventually, though, I did get an interview at Nico, even though they wanted somebody with experience. And we talked about it and discussed a training program to help compensate for my training, since they did need somebody with more experience. So although I felt ready to get into the field, it was hard to get my foot in the door until they allowed me that opportunity. So through this program, I was able to start at Nico, and now I'm a layout artist here, and I've been here for almost 6 months now. So I help design these. I work with the teams and help get the look that they want. I add the names and numbers, get the colors right, and it's really neat seeing my work from start to finish, since we have the whole factory here. So I get to produce something, and then a little while later I see them packing it up and sending it out, and it's really neat. So not only has Nico helped me learn new skills in graphic design, but they're also giving me a chance to start my future now. Now I can start saving and get ready to move out and plan my future. So I think it's really important as a young person to get that opportunity, that first step in the door, so that you can start your life.
Thank you, Nicole. And now we can take questions from the media. And just before we do, again, a great thanks to Joe Camillo for hosting us here, and a special thanks to Ted McMeekin, our member of the Provincial Parliament, and especially to also Minister McMahon, President of the Treasury Board, and Minister for Digital Media, for all their hard work. As they know, I know firsthand, having a father who served politically, as they say, he left due to illness. The voters got sick of him. The ridiculously long hours that they serve, and often without thanks. So not only thank you for your service to Ontario, but again a special thanks for this incredible announcement, which is the level of support from this government has been at record levels. And again, I've seen it firsthand. Joe Camillo's seen it firsthand. Enables small business to hire tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of youth. So this additional announcement today is just incredible. So again, thank you very, very much to you and the government. So, and now if there's any questions, we could do it publicly or one-on-one, and then I think there's I think a tour. So we'll do the one-on-one, I think the media is saying. So thank you very much, and have a great day. All right. Thank you.